Hi there. We're in day 276 of our Through the Bible in 1 year. We're in the beginning of the New Testament. Today we're reading Matthew 2, the entire chapter, and some verses in Luke 39 through 52. Keep the story flowing on a timeline, all right? Wise men seek the king, and we've heard the story, right? After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in Judea, in the days of King Herod, wise men from the east arrived unexpectedly in Jerusalem, saying, "Where was he who was born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. So he assembled all the chief priests and scribes of the people and asked them where the Messiah would be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they told him, "but because that is what is written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, because out of you will come a leader who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and asked them the exact time the star appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. When you find him, report back to me so that I can go and worship him," you think. After hearing the king, they went on their way, and there it was, the star they had seen in the east. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed beyond measure. Entering the house, they saw a child with Mary, his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. They opened their treasures and presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by another route. Right. And as it says, they gave him gold, frankincense, and myrrh, which leads us to think there were 3 wise men. It never says how many wise men there were, okay? There could have been 2. There could have been 10. Okay? I do know that when they flee to Egypt right here, they had enough gold to last until Jesus was like 8 years old. So I think there was more than 3. So, well, let's keep reading. After they were gone, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and escaped to Egypt. He stayed there until Herod's death, so that what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet might be fulfilled. "Out of Egypt I called my son." This is the hardest part to read for me. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been outwitted by the wise men, flew into a rage. He gave the orders to massacre all male children in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, in keeping with the time he had learned from the wise men. Then what was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet was fulfilled. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping, a great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and she refused to be consoled because there were no more. Can you imagine? The Holy Family in Nazareth. After Herod died, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, because those who sought the child's life are dead." So he got up, took the child and his mother, and entered the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus, I don't know who that is, was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the region of Galilee. Then he went and settled down in a town called Nazareth to fulfill what was spoken through the prophets, that he will be called a Nazarene. Okay. So that was Matthew 2. That part about killing all children under 2, it never sets well with me, right? Can't imagine how God felt. The families returned to Nazareth. Okay, and we're going to read the same story. This is somebody else's take on it, okay? First was an accountant. Now we're getting a doctor's take on it. Okay, families returned to Nazareth. When they had completed everything according to the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. See, they left out all the other parts, right? The boy grew up and became strong, filled with wisdom, and God's grace was on him in his father's house. Every year his parents traveled to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. When he was 12 years old, they went up according to the custom of the festival. After those days were over and they were returning, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. assuming he was in the traveling part. There was probably 100 of them, and all the kids were together. So they went a day's journey. They began looking for him among their relatives and friends, and when they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple complex, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all those who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" he asked him. Didn't you know that I had to be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. In favor with God and people. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. His mother kept all these things in her heart, and Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and with people. So there you go. Now Jesus is 12. This one. Tomorrow we will be reading Matthew 3 and Mark 1 and Luke 3. See, to get keep the story together. So we found out that where was it? That Matthew talked about, the accountant talked about the wise men and the star in the east and Herod and the deaths, but Luke did not. So does it mean they contradict each other? Absolutely not. They're telling their version of the stories, right? Stuff that they found important. So there you have it. And we're going to continue this. This is good. I like cutting up the books and the chapters to stick with the storyline. I've always wanted to take the Gospels and all the stories and round them up together and put the whole story into one story, which is cool. So I'm sure it's been done before, but I like doing it right out of the Bible. So there you have it. Give us a like if you think about it. Catch up on anything you may have missed. But until tomorrow, we'll keep going. See you then.